Senate Judiciary Committee will come to order. My apologies for being late to get started, but we had a meeting this morning with President Zelensky of Ukraine, and most of the Senate showed up for the meeting. So he had to be someplace at 10, and we did too, and went over a little bit. So please forgive me. Today, the committee is going to hear from government officials and expert witnesses about the harm caused by unchecked corporate crime and the steps that Congress and the Justice Department can take to better hold corporate criminals accountable. Countless companies have settled multi-billion-dollar lawsuits outside of the court. Far too often, the executives responsible for the decisions that led to these lawsuits have escaped all prosecution and liability. As a result, many people personally impacted by these corporate crimes have been denied true justice, like Ryan Hampton, whom we will hear from today. He is one of millions who became addicted to opioids because of corporate greed and misconduct by companies like Purdue Pharma, while billionaire members of the Sackler family, who own Purdue Pharma, have been shielded from personal liability. I will now show a video about the impact of corporate crime on America and the Department of Justice efforts to bolster enforcement policy.
DOJ is just announcing a plea agreement involving a $4 billion settlement to help close an investigation that's been going on for years. Here's the Attorney General late today.
Binance prioritized its profits over the safety of the American people. Now, Binance is paying one of the largest corporate penalties in U.S. history.
People hear opioid crisis, but I don't think they understand the numbers are almost too big for people to get.
It's mind-boggling in all those statistics. So they made billions and billions of dollars from OxyContin. Since the drug was first introduced, over 250,000 Americans have died from prescription opioid overdoses.
Dr. Richard Sackler was really the head of the family, and he was incredibly casual. He laid back in his chair, he laughed, he smirked a little bit.
Failing to aggressively prosecute such crimes weakens our democratic institutions by undermining public trust in the rule of law. That there is not one rule for the powerful and another for the powerless, one rule for the rich and another for the poor. To fail to aggressively prosecute corporate crime leads citizens to doubt that our government adheres to this principle. The Justice Department does not intend to fail.
In recent decades, federal prosecutors have regularly settled criminal investigations of corporations with agreements to defer prosecution in exchange for increased compliance. This process has led to the limited judicial oversight and lack of real consequences for corporations when they commit crimes. The victims of corporate crimes deserve better. As a first step, we need greater transparency about these lenient and frequently unjust resolutions. That's why last year I introduced with Senator Blumenthal a requirement for more comprehensive data collection regarding corporate crime. This week, we will reintroduce our Corporate Crime Database Act, which would require the Department of Justice to collect and publish comprehensive data on federal corporate criminal enforcement action. Since our bill was first introduced last year, Justice has established a new searchable corporate crime database on its public website. While the database currently contains only 52 cases, DOJ has promised to eventually include all of them, what they consider significant and relevant corporate crime. This is a step in the right direction. But transparency alone is not enough. The decision to settle these cases is frequently motivated by a lack of resources for federal prosecution to battle deep-pocketed corporations in the courtroom. We need to provide DOJ with the resources necessary to prosecute corporations when they engage in complex criminal activity. This is a bipartisan failing. Federal prosecutions of corporate crime have reached record lows under both the Trump and Biden administrations. 2020, DOJ prosecuted 94 corporate crimes. 2021, 90 corporate crimes prosecuted. That's less than half the average annual number of corporate crimes in the previous 25 years. Less than half. Corporate executives have little incentive to change their criminal conduct without fear of real consequences for their actions. Right now, they're not worried about much more than a measly fine, a rounding error compared to their enormous profits like the Sacklers. It's an unacceptable process that gives no relief to the families of the victims and those who face real-life damages. For those who might suggest the committee should be focused on other issues, keep in mind that corporate criminals like the Sacklers played a key role in causing the opioid epidemic that has led to hundreds of thousands of deaths. And the FBI estimates the cost of corporate crime is over $300 billion annually. In comparison, the cost of street crime, $16 billion annually. I want to commend Attorney General Garland, Deputy Attorney General Monaco for making corporate crime a priority and updating DOJ's enforcement policies. I'm sure they'd agree that more needs to be done. There can't be two systems of justice. Too many people have suffered at the hands of corporate criminals, and they deserve real justice. Senator Graham, when he arrives, will be given the option of an opening statement. I hope you understand as we move forward. Let me lay out the mechanics. After I swear in Acting Assistant Attorney General Argentari and Assistant Attorney General Olson, they'll each have 5 minutes to provide opening statements. Rounds of questions will follow from senators with 5 minutes each, and then to our second panel. For our first panel, we welcome the administration's witnesses, whom I'll now introduce. Our first witness, Acting Assistant Attorney General for DOJ Criminal Division, Nicole Argentari. Ms. Argentari first joined the division in 2022 as Chief of Staff to Attorney General Polite before serving as Criminal Division's Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General. Previously served in the Justice Department for over a decade as an Assistant U.S. Attorney in the Eastern District of New York. Second witness is Assistant Attorney General for National Security, Matt Olson. The Senate confirmed Mr. Olson for this role in 2021. In this capacity, he leads DOJ's efforts to combat terrorism, espionage, cyber crimes, and other threats to national security. A long career as a federal prosecutor and intelligence official, including service with the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Would the witnesses please stand to be sworn in? You affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Let the record reflect that both have answered in the affirmative. And Acting Assistant Attorney General Argentari, you're first. You may proceed.